Okay, we should be live. So welcome back to another town hall. And let's share my screen here. Hi, John. Glad you could make it. Okay. All right, so start with the action items. John, this might just be a reminder. Have you had a chance to do anything on Lumio for the fiscal sponsorship agreement?
Negative.
Got it. We'll leave it. Adam, any luck reaching Brent Hollers?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point we might want to just think about kind of putting the word out to the community and see if there's interest from anyone for kind of
Way
taking
ahead
that
of
on. Okay, I figured you might be. Very good. All right, so I did this. Go ahead, Sarah.
I'm so sorry. I'll be in Atlanta at the end of May. So I can reach out to him too about potentially
Sounds good.
meeting, and I can talk to him about
I
that.
know the inventory is in Atlanta. I thought Brent moved. Is he still in Atlanta? John, do you remember?
He's in Georgia,
Okay.
but I think he's north about an hour.
Okay.
Oh, I might not be able to
But he might not be the one. Well, I guess so it's a little complicated because, yeah, the idea was to see if Brent has interest in kind of continuing to take that responsibility. And if he did, we'd have to basically port the inventory from where it is currently over to his current location. But I think it's probably safe to assume at this point that he's going to be too busy in his new role. So it sounds like Adam is pursuing other leads. So maybe just Sarah, might be best just to wait for Adam to sort out a new solution, and then we would try to connect with somebody in Atlanta just to basically have them, ship what they have over.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is for me. I took care of that just today. So I sent the letter over to Rick with the email addresses that we were able to uncover for the chapter members, and he's going to send that along. The chapter has already been placed on inactive status from last week's discussion, just because we haven't been able to get any communication and there haven't been updates on their page for 3 years. So they're currently inactive. Hopefully we'll be able to get them back on the map. We just need to, get them to go through that process again. Next one was for me to request some help with an Azure consultation. I did that. I got a positive response, and we have a meeting set up for after my return. So sometime mid-April. I don't remember exactly when the meeting is, but I'm going to go ahead and take that off from here, and I will let you guys know after we've done that meeting. Hopefully we'll be able to streamline things and get it down to where our grant funding will cover everything that we need there. I also need to set up a new badge for the new programs that we're doing for 3D printing assistive tech. I have not done this yet. It's a little more difficult to do some of these things while I'm traveling, so I'll do that after I'm back. And same with the last one. I haven't done anything with revising our new user email, so I'll leave that on there for later. Okay, so key metrics. Thank you, Rick, for these. I did a quick check on our spreadsheet for the chapter tracking. We're still very much in the midst of the chapter audit, but after I went through and approved a few recent chapters, trying to help Rick out with that just for the short term, the count that I got right now is 220. I don't know that that's accurate, but that's what's in there right now as active chapters on the map. So that number may go down as we continue the audit, but as of now, I'm showing 220 in there. As the rest of this is pretty much the same as we usually see. The e-NABLE fund still has a nice healthy balance. So I think we have some good projects coming up that could leverage that. Hopefully we'll have some time today to talk about the Trello initiative, which might be a pathway towards getting some help in actually moving forward on some of these projects. But I think we should take some time to look at hub posts, because we haven't had enough time for the last 2 weeks for that. So I'm going to dive into these here. I'm just going to go through each one of them, and we'll try to move quickly. This one is from Prisha, looking for some help. A-level students making prosthetic arms. Making one for a 12-year-old student at his or her school. I guess that's a she. I was wondering whether there's anyone on this forum who knows anyone who lives near London or Watford, UK. Anyone?
Well, yeah, there's a chapter outside of London.
Are you thinking the Deloitte chapter or a different one?
Well, the Deloitte chapter is the obvious one. You're right.
Koala is
catch
based
here-
in London, and I don't know if Nate with Koala is part of an active chapter or what their status
He is
is in
not.
terms of participation.
He's not.
Yeah, I think they're more focused on their business right now. And I want to point out the other potential catch here is they're asking for somebody that could print some parts by next week, and they're looking for it to be in a skin tone color. So there's a number of criteria here that might make it challenging.
Now, if for printing itself,
Yeah, that doesn't need to be local, does it?
it doesn't have to be local, and for that matter, it doesn't have to be by volunteers. She's willing to pay. So frankly, I don't know the state of the art of the online print services, but I imagine they still exist.
Yeah, they certainly do. I don't know how cost effective that would be. I guess what you're comparing it against is if we had maybe one of our volunteers. I know we have plenty that are happy to do printing. If it's somebody that's not in that region, then you're looking at the cost of shipping the parts, but that might still end up being less than going through a service. I don't know. Sarah, do you want to? Well, you already asked if it was okay to send this to people directly. Do you want to maybe just post something on the hub, or even just another comment on this, kind of opening up a call to see if there's anyone, not necessarily in the UK, who would be willing to print these parts, who has those skin tone color materials on hand, and who would be willing to ship them by next week?
Sure, I can do that.
But let's note that Chris Brasted,
But yeah, he
he
already,
seems to be local.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't read that one. So have offered to print. Okay, haven't done the badge thing. That's not important here. You're just printing some parts. That sounds good. So I don't see, he didn't mention whether or not he has the skin tone materials that she's looking for, but maybe were you included on that private message, Sarah? Or was that just straight to pre-show?
no,
Okay, so it might be worth following up with, maybe you follow up with Chris either here or directly. It's up to you, just to kind of see where things are and if he was able to get what she needed.
I can do that.
Thank you
But
very much.
it is potentially an opportunity. I guess we don't know the condition of this 12-year-old student. I'm just thinking that Koala and Deloitte and a case would be a really happy collaboration if we could actually get them to work together.
Yeah, it could. And I don't know enough about, based on the wording here, I don't know if that's a really firm timeline or if there might be flexibility. But
Okay, so Sarah, let us know. But Sarah, you know what Koala is?
No,
So there's a business in London that has produced a really wonderful off-the-shelf product that substitutes for the usual prosthetic. In our case, substitutes for the gauntlet, the thing that clamps around the arm. It could be a real solution to simplify fitting. They are somewhat interested in working with us. There you go.
they must have changed
Interesting.
their site. Do you have the new one?
Nope.
Okay, let's just admit whatever.
Secondly, there is a chapter, the Deloitte chapter would be, do we know anything about the current status of the Deloitte chapter, Jeremy?
I don't. I know we haven't seen them for a while. That doesn't necessarily mean, Rick, have you heard anything from them for the chapter audit?
I would have to go back and check. I have a lot of responses from the audit, but I did not commit them to memory.
Let me just take a quick look here. Of course, yeah, I wouldn't expect you to.
I think I've got something like 50 some responses, which isn't
That's
bad.
great. That's,
Yeah.
that's huge.
I guess they don't have Deloitte in their chapter name, so I'm not finding anything with that.
When you say Deloitte, is that just a coincidence, or is this like
No.
a
No, it's
branch
Deloitte.
of the Big
It's
Four?
a team at Deloitte Consulting in the UK that has been very active with us in the past. They
So
not
they've got a
surprised-
makerspace or something like that.
Exactly. And
Gotcha.
not surprisingly, they've got a lot of other valuable skills. They've helped us with some consultation on website design and user experience on that sort of thing. So yeah,
Cool.
it's one and the same. I see e-NABLE UK. I don't know if that's them or not.
Well, I mean, frankly, Sarah, you should look at the map. You should talk to this person, see if the
Yeah.
needs are met, and have in mind that there's a potential synergy in London with both Deloitte and Koala. And if there's an opportunity to bring them together, we should. And if there isn't, this case is sort of under control. But there you go.
Okay.
Great. All right. Let's move on here to Daniel from Ecuador. Dedicated to physical rehabilitation and studying bionic technology. Excellent. Looking forward to learning and sharing. Okay, so I see some welcome messages. There's an invitation to join our next bionic design team. And he put a reminder to participate. So it looks like this one's in good hands.
Yeah, this was just an introduction. I just thought, he mentioned some very specific interests, which we don't see with every introduction. So if
That's right, yeah.
anyone wanted to add to his welcome.
Yeah, Adam, I don't know if you're going to be, doing anything further with the sort of the healthcare group that I know you were sort of working on, but this looks like he could be an interesting participant there as well, being focused on physical rehabilitation.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he is he a student? Is he a physio?
No, it sounds like, if I had to guess, I'd say he's still a student because he says I'm studying bionic technology.
Oh, gotcha.
But it
Okay,
could
cool.
be, it's not very clear.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
Okay. Then let's see, another one from Prisha asking about which hand designs currently use elastic cord in the fingers. And I know I responded on this one too. So I explained the purpose of those elastics and called attention to the Phoenix Reborn hand, which is because she was talking about the Raptor, and for any that don't know, the Raptor design and the Raptor Reloaded were retired quite some time ago because of some testing that showed that the grip functionality really isn't as effective as other designs like the Phoenix. So there's really no way to, no reason to continue producing that design unless it's valuable for some kind of research or experiments. But I pointed her to the Phoenix Reborn, which is essentially the Phoenix hand, but they replaced the elastic bands with elastic cords. So it seems like it might be just what she's looking for. So I think that one is handled.
We also had somebody open a ticket on that, just so you know, and they were talking about the K1 hand.
Okay. Yeah, the K1 hand is a very pretty design, but as far as what we've heard from the few people that have made it, it doesn't seem to be very functional. It seems to be very difficult to produce because of the design of the parts and the way they go together. So it's not a design that's really been popular. But
yeah, I responded to them because I've built, I think, 3 of them.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, and one of the problems is it's kind of misleading because the fingertips do not really bend; they just look like they do, and it's very confusing to the assembler. And the other thing is that the joints are all printed in place, so they're very, very loose, and it doesn't really work. It isn't very solid. So I was kind of telling them not, that maybe there are better designs.
John?
I just wanted to point out that Marcus Mendenhall responded there and talks about the paraglider, which is very well documented on GitHub and looks like something that really should be on our radar.
I see the flexible flyer. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, click that link.
Okay.
It's on GitHub. Nicely documented. Replaces the dental cords with the with his technique using flexible cords.
Interesting. So I wonder what the difference between this is and the Phoenix Reborn. I see that he added in a new support system.
Scroll down.
Okay. Oh, notes from Phoenix Reborn. Okay. This is a remix. Okay. Okay.
So the answer is tunnels. Here are the changes.
Where do you see that? Here are the changes?
It became apparent. Stop. Oh, I'm sorry. So the Phoenix Reborn. Okay, I don't have the answer, Jeremy.
Okay.
But I do know that this seems to be an iteration on it, and he seems to believe that it has some real advantages.
It does, yeah.
And he's created a fingerator.
Redrilling the tunnels and slots. It looks like he's using OpenSCAD, so it might be parametric. So yeah, this is very interesting. Very nice. Yeah, parametric scaling and modification. Wonderful. So this is one that we should work on getting into the catalog, which is a whole other discussion. I actually have a follow-up meeting with Ian once I get back to work on the new catalog on NIH 3D, which is the new name for what used to be the NIH 3D Print Exchange. So we'll follow up on that. That looks like a good design. In fact, I want to grab a copy of that just so I don't forget about it and put that down here under there's a discussion topics. This is the device. I'm just going to put it down here. Paraglider. Just so I don't lose it. Okay. Where were we? That was pre-show. Let's go on to Mike. Mike excited to complete his first build. He's doing an arm, had to split up the forearm piece because of his bed size. We've seen a lot of this lately. And then he came up with a way of gluing the two halves together. He said he's going to try a half lap joint next time with snap pins and glue. Some nice comments here. Thermoforming went fine. Still concerned about long-term glue strength. He found this connection glue scheme seemed to work best on the forearm, so he shared that here. Now I see images. I'm not seeing. Oh, here's I think these are the files. Yep. No, this is a key guard. Okay, what am I missing here? I guess that was just something else he was sharing. I see in the SCAD file below, you can split the print up with dovetail joints. Oh, so he's saying maybe we can use that bit of code in this. Okay, got it. So it looks like this is a work in progress, but I hope that we will get to the point of being able to share ready to use models that have the split parts with some kind of jointing. So this might be one to keep an eye on so we can get that into the catalog. So thank you, Mike, for what you're doing on this. Keep us posted, please. Daniel. How do you change the email for a chapter? Okay, he was told to just email support, and I think this was taken care of. I'm pretty sure that's one of the ones that I updated. I handled all the requests that were in there, so this should be under control. Let's see, Raquel Peacock. Okay. I'm wondering if anyone has any ideas for a 3D print for a peacock. He presents with a drop foot, or as the zoo vet called it, a severe left leg lameness. Okay. His foot is intact but needs extra support. Currently at the Jacksonville Zoo with a few. Rick, this sounds like one for you.
And our German friend.
Yes. I was just thinking Rick because he's in Florida. Let's see, any ideas for prints for a peacock foot? Have you ever done anything like that? Any large birds, Rick?
We have done many small birds. It's not a big deal of scaling it up. I've got a whole lot of feet that we have done for birds that they could probably be modified. So I would think that the first thing is to ask for some photos and a video to see this peacock walking and to get some images of the foot. Would you like to respond on this thread, Rick, and ask for that? Certainly, sure. Okay, let me just send you the link here in chat.
I would really like to do a story on animal prosthetics. So at some point I'm gonna go through and look for posts, but if anyone has anything that stands
we have a
out, let
whole-
me know.
Yeah, there's a space for it. I don't know how
Okay.
active it's been, but we do have an animal prosthetic space. We should maybe repost this in here. This is.
You'll
this is
notice
the
a friend of
place.
mine there.
Oh, that's so cute. And yeah, so there's some good info in here, and then we can maybe invite those others that are asking about similar cases to join in this space.
And Sarah, I'll remind you that the macroscope will be useful here. And
Okay.
that there's a guy in Germany who's gotten a lot of play for his work on an eagle in a zoo.
What's his name?
Well, that's a hard
You're asking the
question.
tough question.
Okay.
You'll find it because it's gotten press.
Okay.
Yeah, and I if the search function in the hub is pretty awful, but I think if you search for eagle, there probably aren't too many posts that have mentioned an eagle.
And Jeremy, I'll remind you that the macroscope search function is quite good and
Oh, that's
works.
right. Now, where do we get to that, John? That's a good point.
Sarah knows. I think it's macroscope dot. I'm just trying macroscope dot e-NABLE .org.
No,
It's
So let's-
Enable Labs. Hang on.
that strikes me as something that maybe we should put into the main forum sidebar as kind of one.
It's true because it remains up to date thanks to
I
Ashley.
have
Is it in
I
our
have
link list?
it.
Do you? Okay.
Put the
Yeah.
link in the chat, Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not even in our link list right now. So let's definitely get that in there. That's a very useful tool.
I don't even know what this is.
It's in the
All
chat.
right, let's do a little demo, may we?
Yeah, please. Is the link in chat?
Yes.
Here we go.
All right. Let's sorry, because the search function in the hub is really pretty crippled.
Now,
And-
let me explain
Yeah, go ahead.
that the vertical axis is posts in order of appearance. The size of a dot, and you'll notice it goes all the way back to
The
2014.
horizontal axis.
No, the horizontal axis is the timeline.
Right. The vertical
And
axis isn't that the number?
Yes. Well, no. The first person to post is the first dot. The
Right.
second person to post is the. No, that's right. These are successive posts. So let me just explain. What
Okay.
you can see is that the curve rises rapidly, and then it continues to rise, but it is sort of perking along at a steady pace. Those are the number of new posts over time. The size of a splotch is actually the number of posts in a thread. If you click on a link on a dot, as you see, you go to the relevant posts.
So you
But
can
if you
see
go
this one
back
has
to the
a whole
macroscope,
bunch- it has a whole bunch of comments.
right? If you select a small part of this thing, there you go. It zooms in. And every one of them links to a live post. And finally, this is how we got here. If you click on the search bar at the top,
I'm just reloading to get back. Eagle.
there you go.
Oh, there's quite a lot. Okay, I'm surprised.
I think that may be because we have a hand that's called the eagle or something. But if you
Okay,
look at
let's
these,
look at the recent ones here.
right?
Oh, Jack Buchanan. Let's see what he's doing. Kuawu 3. Okay, this doesn't look. I wonder what triggered this
Search
one.
for the word eagle on the page.
Okay.
There it is.
Eagle Scout. Okay. Hey, that's a good question, John. Does the macroscope allow you to do like negative keywords, like
I
don't
doubt
match
it, but you
Eagle
can
Scout?
try. The answer is clearly no.
I'll try minus Scout.
I don't think so.
All right. An upgrade for a later time.
There you go. Okay, so that's an introduction to the macroscope, but it's pretty and it works, and I built it, so I'm happy to, and it continues to work. So yes, I think putting it on the, making it more prominent is a good idea.
Okay, let me put that down as an action item for me. That's quick and easy. All right. So let's move on here. Nate, video games. Some video game controller adapters. Very cool. One-handed DualShock. So PlayStation controllers, Xbox controllers. Those are some nice task-specific devices. If anyone runs into gamers that have limb differences, these might be very handy. And again, I'm just going to drop a link for later when we start working on the catalog. Let me put this down here. So we can include those. Fidel printing help. Let's see. Need help printing unlimited parts. Don't have a big enough printer. See how often this is coming up. So I think having those split files is really going to help a lot of people if we have an effective solution for joining and gluing.
Well, you know, we've done that many times because we always run into this, and we use two methods. We use the dovetailing from OpenSCAD, and we also have one of those welders that basically uses a bent metal thing that gets heated, and it embeds into the plastic, and then you just smooth it, and it's worked well for us.
I'm not familiar with that device.
It looks kind of like, I can send you guys a picture of it. It looks kind of like a soldering gun, except instead of having a tip, you put in this little thing that looks like a W, and it's about the consistency of a paper clip, and it heats it up. It superheats it, and then it bends right into the plastic. Yeah. And I think we bought ours for $20. I want to say.
Put a little post on the hub, would you?
I will.
Yeah, okay, so some good options there. I did invite Mike to share his STL files, so hopefully we'll get those because this is a request that we get quite a lot. I'm not going to go to my post about Azure because we already have somebody that's offered to help with that, so I think we're in good hands, at least for now. Adam, socket design. Is this our Adam? Yeah, Adam, you want to talk to us about this one?
Yeah, this was really just an idle thought I had. I think that this is something that's going to be coming up more over the coming year, I believe, as we bring some prosthetists to the table, which I can speak more on that in a little bit later on. But the gauntlet, the mechanism that's used now to secure the terminal device to the recipient's residual limb is quite different than what you typically see in the P&O space. I believe this post is what prompted the response from Nate with Koala. I actually reached out to Nate and I haven't heard back yet. I hope I can get some FaceTime with him in the coming weeks. But really, I'm curious whether anyone has any experience with printing actual sockets instead of just the simple, bracing gauntlet mechanism that seems to be used primarily. And to that end, if sockets are being produced, whether people are familiar with the concept of liners and fasteners, and whether that's anything that would be new territory for the people in e-NABLE. So just a couple of idle thoughts there, some possibles to explore. I think the koala limb, that fabric kind of universal system is really interesting to me. I'd be interested to learn more about how it's secured and whether they've done the comparative studies in terms of like skin breakdown and comfort and compliance and wear schedules and all that fun stuff. Gracie Finko, Dr. Finko, who I think we'll be talking about in just a little bit here, put forward some really interesting ideas about how we could begin gathering some data about post receipt of a device and doing some comparative analysis about function and general outcomes, especially as it pertains to standard devices on the market today. So lots of possibles there. But I just wanted to float the question to see if we can get some conversation going on that subject.
I just love what they're doing here. I don't know if you're seeing
Adam. No, it's awesome. It's really cute.
Wow, they've really done a lot of work since we talked to them last. These are terrific.
yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. I was very impressed
Yeah,
by not
it
only their products, but their mission is also impeccable. So
is. It is. I know that there was interest in figuring out how we could collaborate, and it sounded like they were open to open sourcing at least the interface for their
yep,
attachments.
that's right.
Do we have any next steps to kind of see if we can move forward on that?
No, I reached out to Nate a couple of weeks ago. He's the only member of their team that I attempted to contact. I don't, anything can happen. No person can be on
Okay.
vacation or
Oh,
whatever. So,
I know the koala people.
Yeah.
well, shoot,
And-
John, get on the horn.
Okay, I'll send an email to Nate.
Can you CC me?
Yes, and CCU, of course.
Me too, please.
Beautiful.
And the sweet spot from their point of view is that our volunteers might well design additional attachments,
Exactly.
which they can then use to advance what they're doing. So let's try to revive that. I'm writing the note now.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way in which, like, a more capitalist enterprise with a good mission can interface with a network like ours and benefit.
Well, I
everyone
note that
involved.
they've also got a nonprofit fundraising campaign going,
Well, there you
which
go.
is which looks quite impressive. And we don't need the money, but that might well help push this forward.
Great. All right. Leonard. Leo, and he's part of DuPont Manual, working with Amy Chen. Oh, those are some of the students that that introduced themselves recently. I recognize a couple of the names. We're finishing up our prototype, so this is another one. That one looks really nice. Good print quality. They got the right assembly angle on that. Nice job. Nice job. I do hope that they will submit badge requests for these. It's nice to share them, but we do need them to fill out the form to get the badges. I assume they're aware of that, but
I can remind them too.
sure. Or Rick, if they reach out to the help desk, just be aware that we have this whole group of students that has shared some of their Phoenix hands they've been making.
I'm not sure. I think they did get badges.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they may have.
I think I recognize that hand.
Actually, I guess we can check by just hovering over him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what is that? Joined the e-NABLE hub and introduce self. So he hasn't gotten any device badges yet in this case, but maybe the others have. So we'll just follow up. But yeah, it's wonderful to see all of those new members coming in from that school. That's great. Let's see, Hyder, I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
I think this was another student. I think the rest
Okay.
are students.
Work with 3 other people and thermoform it so my hand could slip in easier. Looks like there's a gallery. No, just one. So, okay. I can't quite tell from that. It looks like the assembly angle might be a little flat. Oh, or the cords aren't even installed yet. I can't tell. So we can deal with all that once they submit for the badging. That's the kind of thing that Rick will always check for, and we'll respond with guidance as needed. But another nice looking print, that's for sure. Clay, I assume this is another from the group. Yep, DuPont Manual High School. So same issue here. I pointed this out on another post, but we do want to call attention to the assembly angle, because this one is even, I can see that even though the hand is lying flat, the strings are even still loose. So this is even, what that means is that it's going to be like this. And in order to actuate the grip, you're going to have to bend way, way down like that, and it would be uncomfortable. So we always recommend that the hand be positioned at about a 30 to 40 degree angle, somewhere in that ballpark. Would you agree with something around that neighborhood, Adam?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you might have had experience with that. Anyway, that's what we've always gone with.
Not with that aspect, no.
Yeah, somewhere in the 30 to, we just figure that's kind of the resting hand position, where you're comfortable
Sure.
at rest. And then from there, you have a much more comfortable bending range. So we usually advise about a 30 to 40 degree angle for
Yeah, my expertise is in lower extremity prostheses.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so that's print quality is good. Just need to tighten up the the lines on that, and it'll be in good shape. Patrick and Jesus giving an update. Building a prototype of the Phoenix V2. I believe we made some improvements on our design. Okay. Hard to tell, but I think the same issue. I can't tell. Well, he's bending the fingers somewhat, so the angle might be okay. I can't tell from without seeing a side view. But thanks for sharing that. That's the kind of thing that, of course, that's why we ask for, two different views when they submit for badges, and ideally a video clip, because we can spot all those issues much more easily. So we'll provide feedback when they go through that. And last one is, I think this is just the welcome. Adam welcoming these all these students. Thank you for doing that, Adam. And that's where I shared the note about the assembly angle and a link to some instructions. Oh, and there's Patrick saying he thinks he's improved that. So that one we were looking at might be fine. I just couldn't tell from that angle. Great. So again, thanks to all these students for joining. Good to see them here. And I hope that they'll have a great experience. Okay, so let's just review upcoming events. I think not one time. We want the recurring. So I think our next event is chapter leaders on Monday. Is that right, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll just pop into the schedule real quick. And I want to take just a moment to show Sarah how to update this. Let's go through the events first. So we have, let's see, there's the chapter leaders on on the 10th, Monday. John, anything you want to share?
No.
Okay. Next one will be the combined education and new member meetup, the Friday of next week. Ian Roy will be leading that. Let's see, update on 3D printing collaboration with NIH. Okay, I don't remember if I'm meeting with him before or after that. I did send him some suggestions of what we might want to be working on next for that. We have a lot of updates to do. They just ported over the old content, so the descriptions need to be redone. The links are all outdated, but those are all easy fixes. The bigger job will be kind of figuring out how we want to organize and categorize different types of devices, and then actually getting our new designs in there, because pretty much everything that's in there right now is out of date because it just got ported over. So we'll be working together on that, and maybe we'll have an update in time for this meeting. I don't know for sure. Then on the 28th, we've got the Bionic Design Group. Sarah, anything to share on this one?
No.
Okay. And of course, we have our weekly town halls. We've got an update here on the Splints for Ukraine program. Anything you can summarize here, Sarah?
It's mostly focusing on just the partnership with e-NABLE Netherlands.
Okay.
And the
1,261 devices. Wow.
Mhm.
Congratulations to the e-NABLE Netherlands team. That's fantastic. Wow. Excellent. Okay, and then real quick, I just wanted to show how this is done. So
Could you real quick look at the chat? I'm not sure anyone's seeing it.
I'm sorry, it's hard for me to keep an eye on, but yeah. So this is something that Rick just shared. What is this, Rick?
This is almost done. I've got it in my hand, and it's an interesting design we're doing for partials, because you add a finger as needed.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So if you need a partial, I have one right.
Are these 3D printed components?
Yes, they are. I've got it right here if you want to see it. Pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
so let's take a moment. Hold on.
Video.
Let me stop the screen share and spotlight.
Now understand, guys, please, that this looks like it's for a gorilla, because I always build them oversized, and then when you shrink them down, they really look awesome. You get a lot more detail. But the way it works is this would be all there would be for the wrist, this small piece here.
Okay.
And it's all the joints and everything are 3D printed. And then here's the thumb and all the fingers. Super light, super easy.
So have you strung one of these up yet? Have you installed the cords?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, not
okay.
On this one. This one was the first prototype. I have strung one up, but I don't have it here.
No problem. The only reason I was asking is I noticed that you have a pretty short radius at the hinge there, and I was wondering if that limits, if that provides enough movement to fully.
Here, let's find out. Look, this is really cool how it works.
Yeah.
Look how much it folds down. Very Yeah.
And you're able to get enough pull with bending of the wrist to pull the fingers all the way in.
So far, yeah, so far, because it's got quite a radius here.
Okay, nice.
And basically, what you do is you just snap fingers on here.
Yeah.
So if you only need one finger, okay, well and good, and they connect, or like they snap right in here.
And have you had this might be premature, but have you had any opportunity to have somebody test one of these that maybe has a couple of fingers still or anything like that? I'm curious, like how they line up.
I haven't had access to my computer because of my health issues.
Sure. Okay.
So this was the first one that we printed. The second one looks a lot better. This one basically is mildly ugly, but we were doing it specifically for somebody that had an issue. They needed 2 fingers.
Okay.
Only. And so this will all be shrunk down. But look, I mean, look how big it is. It's huge.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I get it. It's just a prototype. But what I'm wondering, Rick, is that, you know, if you imagine somebody wearing this, the fingers that they do have are going to be coming out from underneath the cover there, whereas your fingers are kind of coming out on top. So it might be helpful to sort of lower, you know, have the fingers so that they kind of come down so that they're, you know what I mean? So they're coming out at the same level as the real thing.
Yeah. That's not a bad suggestion, and it wouldn't be that hard because the way these bridges are built, we were just trying to get it to where we could snap the fingers in and out.
Sure, and
I don't know
that mechanism would still work fine. You just angle it down right at the end of that piece.
Yeah, I mean, so this is just a test.
That's beautiful.
We'll see. We'll see.
And Rick, is this in response to the guy we looked at 3 weeks ago who was asking about multiple fingers?
No, actually, it was one where someone contacted me directly, and they were very unhappy because they couldn't find anything that was affordable and light. And they were concerned because everything they had tried before, the existing fingers got in the way of the build, which is typical. I mean, a lot of the hands, you know, if any residuals they have tend to interfere with the hand and vice versa. So he couldn't find anything. So we kind of banged this out, trying to figure out something to do with it. And I know
it's great.
It is. And I love the modular approach, Rick. That's really an important feature that I don't know that anyone has really pulled off. So just keep in mind, like I said before, that Ian and I don't know who else will be working in the months to come to really establish a whole new device catalog on the NIH site. And we definitely want to get some of your stuff in there. So, you know.
Well, right now we're waiting on our scanner. We need a new scanner. Ours.
Did you get the mole?
We did. We got the
mole.
Me
too. I went ahead and ordered one. It's going to be waiting for me when I get home. So I'm going to test it out. And if I like it, we're going to offer it.
Signed up on the 16th and I haven't even heard my shipping yet.
Well, it's because I'm inquiring as a reseller. So they rushed one to me, you know.
And I also got the connection kit, but I'm going to use the mole simply because it does everything I believe we need. And the software is awesome. I've installed the software. But the software for iPhone and Android are not available, but it is available. You can download the software for Windows.
Yeah, and for Mac. Yeah, it looks really good. Their scan results are impressive. The auto alignment of models, it really looks nice. So I'll be.
And we're waiting. As soon as we get that, I want to affix this right on to the hand and build it that way. And then we'll see more of the angles once there's a hand in it.
Yeah. Nice work. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the spotlight here.
And Rick, or Sarah, remember that there was someone asking about multiple fingers on the hub 3 weeks ago. I had given him some much less effective advice than what Rick is working on, but letting that person know that Rick is working on a case might give him some hope, Rick a use case to work with. And so
I could use that. Yeah. Somebody whose expectations were not that it would be perfect first time out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, real quick for Sarah. So all we have to do is come in once you set this up. I'm going to grab the URL from up here and copy it to my clipboard. And then we just come over to the main form on the hub. And you should have this. I believe you're an admin. If you don't, let me know. Just click on this gear icon. You're not using this drop down way up top. It's the gear icon in the space here. and you go to custom pages here at the bottom of the drop down.
Okay.
And then all you have to do is edit where it says this month's e-NABLE meetings. Just click on the little edit icon, and all you have to do is replace this target URL, paste in the new one there, and save. That's it.
Okay. Thanks.
And so now we should have, April meetings in there. All right, and on to our discussion topic. So Adam, do you have any updates for us on your outreach activities?
Yes and no. I mentioned last week that there weren't going to be quite as many this time around. Forgive me if I've got some duplicates. Let me just run through some topics and you can tell me whether or not they've already been covered. Dr. Gracie Finko with the Amputee Coalition and Baylor University. She's agreed to speak next month to our community. I opened up time during a town hall, if that's okay. If not, we can.
Absolutely.
She is really something else. I think that
Did you pick a specific date with her, or is it just going to be sometime next month?
I left a couple of dates open for her. And
Sarah,
it's going to be early to mid-May, somewhere in there. And she'll let me know exactly which one works best for her. So we will, it'll be a little bit open forum, but also I've got some targeted questions for her. She has some really great ideas about how we can make some more inroads with the P&O community. She is really hopeful and optimistic about the potential for e-NABLE and organizations like us to be more a part of the infrastructure. At least, I mean, her perspective obviously is very US centric, just like everyone on this calls is. But I think that's a big gap that I think that we could really address with her help. So I'm excited for that. I'm also meeting with Dr. Diane Smith next week. She is a kind of a rock star in the OT world. She has led a number of leading OT programs. I believe she's moving down to Texas from Wisconsin this year. And we're going to be exploring some potential student partnerships with OTs, getting more directly involved with e-NABLE. I'd like to establish kind of a track that's known in the OT education community. And I'm hoping that I can get some more insight about how to institute something like that at AOTA in a couple of weeks. Speaking of AOTA, I've got my swag ordered. I have my business cards on the way. Thank you again for the approval there, team. But I'm really excited about that coming up. I've been vetting some of the attendees and the booths that are going to be there. And I think that there's some real potential partnerships and some potential for elevating our profile just by having a representative there. So that should be fun. I'm planning to take a lot of pictures, take some video so that we can post on the hub and potentially elsewhere. Speaking of posting us elsewhere, I'm really I don't have this written down. It's just a lot of things are actually transitioning pretty well from one topic to the next. But as I mentioned, I've established a LinkedIn page for e-NABLE. I am creating one post per week right now. And I would encourage anyone in the community to follow that page. If it's helpful, I'd be happy to post its file path, not file path, gosh, I'm in work mode right now, sorry.
Sure it is. The link is in the chat as of this moment.
Great, thanks, John. But I'm planning to, hopefully, if we can start getting some more media. Well, I did create a media space last year for people to upload pictures and videos. I don't think it had any kind of visibility. I wanted to draw more people's attention to it, especially as they start, as we get new members coming in, as people are badging and trying new things and actually helping recipients. I'd love to get more multimedia stuff on there. And I think that if we can incorporate those into posts on social media, I think that's going to do nothing but improve our visibility, our fundraising potential, and our ability to forge new partnerships that will only be of benefit to our mission. So please, keep an eye on that and contribute any, Rick, especially the kind of cool stuff you do. Any pictures or videos you can take would be very, very welcome in that space. One final multimedia project, Sarah and I touched base this week on the possibility of producing some kind of short form podcast. I think we've got some rough edges defined for what that might look like. She has a lot of experience, as she mentioned last week, in audio editing, specifically for podcasts. I've got some experience in production and in hosting in that kind of a format. I'm going to put together some ideas for topics and people that we could potentially interview. So I think that as a way to get, establish another entry point or another point of interest, I think that could be a pretty good one. Beyond that, Afghan initiative, I'm really just waiting to get confirmation from a couple of teams who have indicated that they would send me devices that I could send along to test our shipping pathway. Still waiting to get confirmation there. Once that's done, we'll be ready to send those along to Pakistan, who will forward them to our contacts in Kabul. Okay, yes. So one last thing, I realized we're getting close to the end of the hour. 2 additional initiatives, both of them are based in Africa, one in Nigeria, one with the International Red Cross's East Africa division. So I touched base with a prosthetist by the name of, I don't have it written in front of me, I believe it's Taiwo Akinsanya. Apologies, Taiwo, if I mispronounced that.
Adam, I'm sorry, can you tell me again, these are potential partnerships in, did you say Nigeria and?
Yeah, Taiwo is in Nigeria, and then Valentina, who I'll talk about in just a moment, is the therapies director, kind of program director for therapy services and rehabilitation services for the International Red Cross in East Africa.
Okay. What was that name again for the East
Valentina.
Africa? Valentina.
Yep.
East Africa. Okay, got it.
And I just connected with her yesterday after she's on maternity leave, and so it took a while to hear from her. But anyway, starting with Taiwo. So Taiwo, and yeah, it's Akinsanya. He's the founder of Dynalim Technologies, which is a P&O company in Nigeria. They've got Nigeria has a little bit over 300 million people in its population. About 3.5 million of those are amputees, and about 90% of those are lower extremity amputees.
Say that again, please, those numbers.
Oh, sure. I think it's 315 million is the total population of Nigeria. Roughly 3.5 million is the known census of amputees. And roughly 90% of those are lower extremity cases. Taiwo has been using 3D printing for the past year or so to help to shore up some of the deficits they have in terms of raw materials to service people in his region. And he's got 2 major things standing in his way. Number one is that it's really hard to obtain filament. He has found through testing that I believe it's polypropylene, PP, is the best filament to use for lower extremity sockets, which is really what he's been doing some really exciting work to design and print. And the other issue is just electricity. He has an issue with electricity suddenly shutting out or going out and not knowing when it's going to come back. A lot of traditional fabrication techniques can still go on without an electrical supply, but obviously 3D printing is not one of those. My thought during our conversation was that if people were interested, and if we could confirm that it's, okay, obviously there is some concern about blurring the line between non-medical device and medical device. If Taiwo were to share the designs, and if he were to scan his patient's residual limbs, my thought is that the e-NABLE community, those who are interested and had the materials, could print those sockets to his specifications. Obviously, they'd be rough and in need of finishing. But if those could be shipped in a way that was cost effective to where he is, that would be a much easier shipping line than, for example, the Afghanistan project.
Yeah.
And there's a huge population of people who could make use of those products.
Well, that might actually be something else that you could help us with, Adam, because we've struggled over the shipping for years. And at one time we thought we had a lead on a partnership with DHL that would give us deep discounts on the international shipping, but it never panned out to where we could get access to it.
Well,
So
that brings me to the International Red Cross. So the
all
reason I
right.
have been reaching out to those members is because they obviously they handle a lot of material goods shipping. So Valentina is the rehab director of the East Africa ICRC. Incidentally, my amputee rehab certification is through the ICRC. So they have that's a big part of their mission, which is probably no surprise. I'm hoping that I can get two things from Valentina. Number one, some opportunities for areas where e-NABLE can be of direct material assistance, sort of like what I've been describing for Nigeria. And also getting a bead on some viable shipping paths that would not be, cost prohibitive. I think that if we were to go that route and we weren't able to solve the problem for a cost, I think that this would be the time to kind of reconsider what funds in the e-NABLE fund are for. And if it were to facilitate that kind of service, I thought that could be a positive feedback loop where if we could, demonstrate the work that we're doing, demonstrate the people who are being helped by our members, that could bolster fundraising opportunities and could just feed itself.
Especially if we can group them where we're not shipping a single device. If you're working with partners, we could sort of batch ship them, and shipping a box of devices will be a lot more cost effective.
Exactly.
There's no reason to have all that money sitting in the fund unused. That seems like a good approach.
Yep. So that's kind of my big new exciting thing. I really am feeling pretty hopeful. Taiwo is nothing but saying yes, yes, yes to whatever. Because obviously he's a guy who's been making do with not very much, and we'd like to, I shouldn't say we, I'd like to give him some more stuff to do good with. So
yeah, great.
If we can find a way to make that happen, I would be pretty thrilled.
Excellent. Well, I think we should probably wrap things up for this week, but let's, now that we've gotten caught up on the hub posts and we're up to date on outreach efforts, I think next week would be a good opportunity to focus on our discussion about just talking about when we do or don't pay for different types of work through the e-NABLE Fund, maybe clarifying the intent of that. And hopefully we can get into talking about our Trello initiative and some next steps there as well. So we'll try to reserve most of our time next week for those topics and then go forward from there. Does anybody else have anything you want to talk about today?
I'm sorry. I was wondering, it doesn't need to be done on the meeting, but could you take a look at the tickets later? I have a couple of tickets out there that you are assigned on, and I'm not sure it's notifying you as it should.
Well, I just saw one. I think it was today. I just haven't gotten to them yet, but let's just take a look to see if it's
I don't think it's notifying me sometimes either. So I just wanted to make sure you knew they were there.
Yeah, so I see a chapter inquiry here, which I will take care of. That's just a quick update on the chapter spreadsheet. And this is somebody looking for a nick finger, it looks like, for his left index. And
yeah, he mentioned your name. And so
well, I might have talked with him, but honestly, I don't think I'm the best one to help because I've never made a nick finger. And I think you have, haven't you, Rick?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're super easy.
So how do you feel about me assigning this one back to you?
That's fine. I just didn't know if you guys had an ongoing dialogue that I was unaware of.
Let me know if I can help. I'm happy to support, but I was probably just the one that happened to respond to him, but I think you're in a better position to work with him.
No worries. No worries. I just didn't know if there was, sometimes people open yet another ticket and I don't know if you've got something ongoing and I don't want to step on it. So.
Got it.
Hey, Rick, just before the call ends, I put something in the animal prosthetics space. I haven't heard anything back from anyone else there. If you could take a look, if you have a spare moment, and just see if that looks like anything you'd be interested in working on.
Is that the one with your cat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I talked to a surgeon about it, about your cat.
Okay.
And I was going to write to you, but I've had such little access to my my PC. I have to do everything with a tablet, so I'm so sorry. But I talked to a surgeon about your cat. I showed him your pictures and everything, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But he didn't think it was a good idea.
Okay.
because they only put 40% of their weight on the front legs. And cats do remarkably well with one front leg. Back legs, they do well, but not as well. He suggested that it's just going to piss the cat off.
Yeah. The only two things there, she's pretty tolerant of just like, messing with her. And so I thought that she could maybe tolerate
he
a
didn't
harness.
think it would help though, because sometimes,
yeah,
if you ever watch a three-legged cat, they are astonishing how well they do.
She is a three-legged cat, and she's been living with us for about a year now. But the only thing is less ambulation and more just jumping off of heights, trying to find some means of protecting her, because right now she's using her chin as a fourth.
But if you want to do it, I'll build it, because it's not hard. Because we have some for dogs that would fit a cat. All we'd have to do is scale it down. If you decide you want to go through with it, I would help you.
That would be amazing.
I was just going to say, one of my employees has a three-legged dog. Maybe I'll follow up with you, Rick, to see if that might be worth looking at.
Well, plus we still have that leg we could rebuild that we did for that other dog too. So depending on which leg it is. Yeah, I
think it's one of the front legs. I'll try to maybe get some details and photos and follow.
We already have built front legs, so we could rebuild. We already have the jigs and everything set up for.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, I got to run here, folks. We'll see you all next week.